So, welcome everyone. We are on week 29, prayers and meditations by the Mother. And today we have, so last time we took up this small little prayer of April 1, and where Mother has just met Sri Aurobindo, and she sees that a new stage of her life has begun. And now we are on April 2, and then if time permits, we will take April 3 also today. So let us first read out the prayer. Yeah, so would anyone want to read out April 2, 1914 for us?
Yeah, should I go ahead?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. April 2, 1914. Every day when I want to write, I am interrupted as though the new period opening now before us were a period of expansion rather than of concentration. It is in the activity of each moment that we must serve Thee and identify ourselves with Thee rather than in deep and silent contemplation or in meditation, written or unwritten. But my heart does not tire of singing a hymn to Thee, and my thought is constantly filled with Thee. The Mother, thank you.
Thank you. So would anyone want to share any thoughts, any reflections if you have gone through the prayer? Okay, so I'm taking it forward, and if there is anything that arises in between, please feel free to share. So now I think here Mother gives us a hint of how we are following a certain practice for a long time, and that has its own purpose. But then, as a new phase begins in our life, and there are many, many, many new phases that are there in one lifetime, we see that now the practice of old times is not of that much of use anymore. And in Vedas also, we were discussing that day, there is this example or the metaphor of a dragon. And one of the meanings that Sri Aurobindo is giving to dragon is also, dragon is like a guardian of the darkness, guardian of the inconscient. And along with that, Sri Aurobindo also shares, I found a text where he shares that dragon is anything which is now not required. It's like, imagine there is something that I used to do which was serving me like 5 years, but now I am in the sixth year and that doesn't serve me anymore. Now something else is required in my growth. So when I still keep on tying myself to that practice that I used to do, because we stick to even our practices that, see, I have been doing this for 10 years, I've been doing this for 5 years, we make it a part of our identity, which is not required. So this stickiness need not be there. So Mother, until now we see Mother has been living a very concentrated life in herself, like, within herself, and very not very much like socially expanded, like going through all the spiritual experiences, in gathering our consciousness. And because she is giving us an example of how to have a right attitude as a human aspiring soul. So now Mother says that now a new phase is ready in front of me. So whenever she sits, in the earlier prayer she was writing that when I sit, here, was it in this one, or maybe, I think maybe in a different prayer. Yeah, I think this one only that I'm thinking of, that every day Mother would write a few things and in silent contemplation fill up this diary and everything. But now Mother says that now I feel before us, So the moment she sits down to write the same practice that she has been following for many years, she says, now I feel that I am interrupted, and as though a new period opening now before us were a period of expansion rather than of concentration. So I think both are necessary. First, an ingathering, and then in our day to day life, in our little mundane activities and whatever interactions, or whatever offering of ourselves we can give into this world, even that we make meditative and we do it as an offering to the divine. So it's not that I'm just concentrated in my room, studying all the time, reflecting, meditating all the time, which also has its own importance. But then a new phase has to begin, and that would depend upon unfolding of each one's own life, where it is a period of expansion. So we see this example in also Jetsunma Tenzing Palmo's life, where she shares, that after meditating for say 12 years in solitude in her cave, undisturbed by most of the people, how she was interrupted by a policeman who says that now your visa is expired, you have to go back, you can't stay in India. And that interruption brought a new phase in her life of expansion. Now she remembered that her master had said that you have to open a nunnery for nuns, and then she is confused whether I should go back into retreat or whether I should open this nunnery. And then she's asking a couple of people. Now this is again very good example in front of me, because we may think that okay, after 12 years of spending time in solitude, one may think that I know what I want to do with my life, one has a clear indication, clear direction. But there she's feeling confused. So confusion is there, that she thinks that I would like to go back to retreat, that's what my heart would really want. But I've done that for a long time, and maybe it's time now to give myself to the society. Then she asks a couple of people, one Catholic priest, and she asks this same question, that what do you think I should do? And he says that of course whatever is the most difficult. And the difficult is to start the nunnery, because the time is ripe. So again we have to follow these hints and clues and directions in our lives as our life unfolds in front of us, that there is a time of concentration, like a tapasya, in gathering of consciousness, stabilizing ourselves as this consciousness, that who we truly are, detaching from all the surface activities. Then there is a time for expansion, putting ourselves in the worldly activities and sharing that light, wisdom, and learning through those experiences. So that's what a hint I get here is, that mother is saying that a period of expansion rather than of concentration. It is in the activity of each moment that we must serve thee. And this mother shares when she talks about these 11 points, walking towards the psychic consciousness. We see that she says that don't believe too much in our mental opinions. Then she says, when you eat, know that you are eating only for this self discovery. When you don't eat in greed. When you sleep, aspire that this sleep may give you the strength and the rest required for the discovery of the self. So in each activity of life, mother says, put it into light, put it into light. No matter how mundane it is, even when we may be overwhelmed by our patterns, which we many a times are, ego patterns are showing up. Even there, remember the divine mother, this is showing up. And not to follow the dictates of the dark cloud, but to persist, as mother shares, that endure, just endure. So remembering now, focusing ourselves that yes, this is what I want to do in each aspect of my life, not remaining scattered here and there, pinpointedly knowing that I just want to serve the divine in whatever activity it is. Whether we are interacting with a person, a friend, meeting somebody for a job, or whatever, any activity of the day can be turned into a consecration. And this mother shares in one of the prayers that if I don't do any activity as a consecrated effort, I feel a pang in my heart. So something is not right. So in retrospect, I look at it and I feel like a pain arising in my heart. And it's a beautiful pain if it arises in our hearts that, this activity, I did not surrender to the divine. Hmm? So it's an auspicious indication. So it is in each activity of each moment that we must serve thee and identify ourselves with thee. How do we identify ourselves with thee, with the divine? One of the ways that Mother and Sri Aurobindo describes is uh, taking stance as the witnessing consciousness. So there may be a happy phase going on, there may be a dark phase going on, but who am I? I am the witnessing consciousness. So stabilizing our stance as that witnessing consciousness. I'll just share that again, which I shared earlier in that Savitri session, because I think it must be open somewhere. Yeah. So here Sri Aurobindo shares these steps in the sadhana where the inner being begins to awake, begins to awake. So often the first result is the condition made up of following elements. So he shares what all is required: a sort of witness attitude. So if there is a thought, I am looking at the thought. Who am I? I am the looker of the thought. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at that feeling. I'm not completely immersed. There may be a darkness, but I'm looking at the darkness, like watching the drama happening within. So, a sort of witnessing attitude in which the inner consciousness looks at all that happens as a spectator or observer, observing things but taking no active interest and pleasure in them. So, there is nothing I want out of that happening. All the wants and expectations are just turned to the divine. Then he talks about the other things, a state of neutral equanimity that only comes when we take the witnessing stance, in which there is neither joy nor sorrow, only quietude, a mental stillness, a stillness in the being, a sense of being separate from all that happens. So there may be happening of joy and sorrow in the being, but you are separate from them. There is a detachment, there is a certain detachment that is there, observing but not a part of it, and an absence of attachment to things, people, or events. So there is no preference, no particular like or dislike that is there. So these I thought were resonating, and it was just open, so I thought I'll share. Yeah. So in activity of each moment, we must serve thee and identify. This is the identification with the divine consciousness. Identify ourselves with thee rather than in deep and silent contemplation or in meditation, written and unwritten. So we see that in the ashram when many people would, ask for advice to mother, she would not suggest meditation to everyone. She would suggest it to some people, but not to everyone. She would put people in various kinds of works, and she would suggest to everyone that it's in the activity of the daily life that we have to surrender to the divine. So whether it is lawn tennis, whether it is physical education going on, some work in the kitchen going on, everything is you do for the divine, not for your own self. So but my heart does not tire of singing a hymn to thee, and my thought is constantly filled with thee. So slowly, as we go through our life experiences, we realize that that's the best attitude we can have in our life, to bank completely on the divine. It's still we have relationships, still we have the day to day activities, but we don't bank upon anything to give us this solace. We bank only on the divine. So when we bank on the divine totally, to our utmost capacity, there is a gratitude that wells up that I have the divine. I have the divine 24/7 with me. So where we can bank, we can hide our face in the mother's pallu, mother's sari, like a little child, when he's feeling a bit agitated or he doesn't know where to go. Have you seen, little children, how they do? They just, if they're feeling a little shame, shy, they just find the mother, where is the mother, and they go and hide in the mother's pallu. So that's the solace that we have at each moment of our life. That brings us solace, contentment, and gratitude. Yeah. and my thought is constantly filled with thee. So even our thoughts, we, since we are so obsessed with thoughts all the time, we have to think and think and think. So mother says, if you have to think of the divine. So all the thought is turned towards the mother. Since thought is repetitive and continuously, we have vicious loops coming up of thoughts again and again in the head. So what to do? Turning all the thoughts to mother, mother's image, mother's, chants of the mother, name of the mother, imagining the mother, visualizing the mother. So if we have to think, we have to think of the mother. So filling the whole being with the mother, and then mother takes care of the yoga. So that's what, a few thoughts about this. Anyone wants to add on anything? Yes, Dr. Rashmi, yeah, name of the mother. Sri Aurobindo said that in our yoga, we have only one mantra, although mother gave many others later, but then he says that we have only one mantra, that is the name of the mother.
Namaste,
Yes, Dr.
Dr. Monica. Yeah,
Yeah.
just I'm putting my point of view here. You can actually pitch in and you can also guide me. During these hard days of work, I forget. I get completely immersed in work and I forget the mother. Then at the end of the day, when I remember her, then there is solace in the heart. Even if a short remembrance also helps me. But there are times when vital emotions take over. What is your suggestion how to handle that? Or any one of you, any of you, just is open for discussion.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Yes. Would anyone like to share anything?
Even during work also. During work also, there are times actually you have to interact with your colleagues, and because there is a team which is working and somebody is not in sync with the vision of the team, then how do we handle those situations, keeping mother at the center? They do
Yeah.
not know, but I certainly know that she is watching over me and she's with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Would anyone like to share anything? What Dr. Rashmi has shared?
Why I am telling this? Let me just give you one example. After she came into my life, and I know her stamp is always there. Whatever is achieved, whatever is done. But there are times actually after committing something, I understand that yeah, I committed a mistake. Uh, I should not have said this. I should not have done this. So in those moments, how to get back that equilibrium?
Yeah.
It takes some time. Yes, again she comes back. Again she guides.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe going forward, those moments will be rarer.
Yes. Yes.
So, but this is a situation I am going through currently
Hmm.
because a lot of things to handle during the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, this is just open
Yeah. Yeah.
to all of you because this is a situation where right now I am going through. I am not able to really remember the mother always.
Hmm.
But I know when I'm going back, when I'm at home, sitting alone, then she's always there. She's flooding with her presence. Then everything calms down. Everything is fine.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. So I'm going to share with us a prayer of the mother, which really resonates with what you were sharing. So in this prayer, November 2, Mother shares that although my whole being is in theory consecrated to thee, because I know that my life is given and offered to you. Mother shares, because Mother's prayers and meditation, she herself has shared that these are, it is a path for the aspiring human soul. That's why Mother took the human birth, so that
Yes.
to, pave a path for us that, okay, I am in trouble,
Mhm.
because the divine is not in trouble, but when it takes human form, we see that we are in ignorance, vital reactions, as you were sharing, and we find it hard to turn to the divine
Yes.
completely. So that's the path she has shown. So let us hear from the Mother directly what she shares, how to go through this, when we are overpowered by this. So she says, I still find it hard to carry out this consecration in detail. That's exactly what you just shared,
Yeah, you are right.
right?
Yes. Yes. Superb. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
And then she shares that, now I'm just coming to this.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many times a day still I act without my action being consecrated to thee?
Yeah. Fantastic.
I at once become aware of it by an indefinable uneasiness, like a pang in my heart.
Yeah.
So you shared that whenever such a thing happens, you later realize that, maybe that was not the right thing to be said,
To be
something
done.
not right.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that's a beautiful flowering of a right consciousness that you already see. That there is some discernment, some light of consciousness sitting, which is passing through a mirror, a psychic mirror, and it notices and observe that yes, this was not a right movement.
Yeah.
So that
Correct.
itself is a beautiful, beginning or a baby step on the way, according to Mother. Then she says, okay, what is the path to solace? I then make my action objective to myself. So not giving me, my story, a bit too much attachment, not going into that guilt and shame, just making it objective, yes, that yes, this was not a maybe right movement. Then it seems to me ridiculous, childish, or even blameworthy. I deplore it for a moment and I am sad. So it's okay, for all of us to be sad that, okay, why did I do it? I should have behaved better or whatever. Until then, she says, gives the golden key. Until I dive into thee, and there, losing myself with a child's confidence, what we were, the image that we were creating, go into the child goes into the mother's pallu and hides his face there, finds solace there. There, losing myself with a child's confidence, await from thee the inspiration and strength needed to set right the error in me and around me, two things that are one. For now, I have a constant and precise perception of universal unity, determining an absolute interdependence of actions, which you also have, which all of us have. All of us, on this path, we now see that the difficulties are not out there, they are in us. So
This is
this,
yeah.
yeah,
This is really beautiful that she has written two things are one. That means that is
two things that
error.
are one. Yeah,
Yeah, error that is inside me. Also, it is around me. So
yeah,
what I find outside is also inside me.
absolutely, absolutely.
This is really really wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
most
This is,
welcome. Thank you for bringing it up. This is one of my favorite prayers. I come back to it again and again.
yeah, I joined after a long, long time. So it's really fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic.
thank you. So, in one of the conversations, Shraddha one was sharing that something was happening in Auroville, and it was not the, of course, people have ego clashes all the time, and we are coming out from our ignorance. We all have our ignorant attitudes. So, something nice, not really nice, ego clashes happening. And then she wondered that, is this the Auroville that Mother would like to be? And then somebody said, but we have to be the Aurovillians mother would like us to be. So each one of us has to work on our own self. Then only the outer things which appear so distorted, they will be corrected. So just exactly what mother shares, that the error is whatever error I see outside me is the error inside me. If I see too much chaos outside me which I'm not able to handle, then I must see that my peace is not strong enough, my tranquility, my power that is there in the peace is not strong enough. I have to work on that, that there is still chaos and it disturbs me. Yeah, Taru, you wanted to add on? You want to go now?
Yeah, that was just, when you had completed sharing your thought, I just felt that, how there's one thing that is done for more of a show off, right? Like when we think about religion or we think about the religious practices, like one thing is doing it with a lot of, again, you're fully in it, but maybe you start with it, but then it becomes mechanical. Like the process is more important, then why is it being done? That invocation, that oneness is not aspired for mostly. So here when she's saying, among other things, that now it's more of, how to do it, not to sit and just think about it or enjoy that oneness. And yet there's not a second that I don't remember him, right? So just that now that action, which was probably needed to come to a state where I don't need to do anything for that union. I don't need to do it. And now I go, now I walk, now I work, because I know that I'm fully probably him and he's fully me. So my heart does not tire of singing a hymn to thee. So although it might appear that, when I was meditating, for example, 5 hours a day, I am more spiritual, right? But that's just again the dynamics of ignorance and judgments. What is going inside one is really is beyond words, beyond actions, and cannot be judged. So just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So anyone else to add on anything? Okay, so we are going ahead then. We still have time. We'll take up this next prayer, which is in conjunction with the previous one, April 3. I'll just, yeah, make it bigger. Would anyone want to read it for us?
I'll read.
Yeah, please.
Okay. It seems to me that I am being born to a new life, and all the methods, the habits of the past can no longer be of any use. It seems to me that what I thought were results is nothing more than a preparation. I feel as though I have done nothing yet, as though I have not lived the spiritual life, only entered the path that leads to it. It seems to me that I know nothing, that I am incapable of formulating anything, that all experience is yet to begin. It is as though I were stripped of my entire past, of its errors, as well as its conquests, as though all that has vanished and made room for a newborn child whose whole existence is yet to be lived, who has no karma, no experience to learn from, but no error either, which has to be set right. My head is empty of all knowledge and all certitude, but also of all vain thought. I feel that if I learn how to surrender without any resistance to this state, if I do not try to know or understand, if I consent to be completely like an ignorant and candid child, some new possibility will open before me. I know that I must now definitively give myself up and be like an absolutely blank page on which thy thought, thy will, O Lord, can be inscribed freely without danger of any deformation. Should I finish the last lines? Okay. An immense gratitude rises from my heart. It seems to me that I have at last reached the threshold I sought so much.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah. So, on this path, as it happens that we are reading spiritual things, and many a times even mother says that a spiritual ego arises, that see, I am reading such things and all that. It's past part of the process. But then we realize that this is nothing. This is really nothing. And not even a empty spiritual ego, even when one has spiritual experiences like mother had, like true real spiritual experiences before coming to Sri Aurobindo. So this is a prayer when she came to Sri Aurobindo first time in Pondicherry. There she's writing this prayer, that what an utter humility we can learn from the mother, one who has done already the yoga of the Gita, in touch with the psychic being, in touch with the divine, many, many spiritual experiences, occult experiences. And yet she, the Divine Mother, she is saying that it seems to me I am being born to a new life. How amazing is that surrender? When she is there with Sri Aurobindo and recognizes her as the Lord and Master. And whatever served so far, all the practices as Taru was sharing, we have certain, and they have their right place, they have their proper, place in our evolution. But now we have to shed off the past each moment. Each moment we have to be rid of our old robes. So mother shares that these habits of the past can no longer be of any use. Now I see that. It seems to me that what I thought were results, wow, how is beautiful is this? What I thought were results is nothing more than a preparation. So that's the beauty, even with many realized masters, we see that they are so humble and grounded. That they say, no, the path is not over. I have to travel so much. We have not reached anywhere. With Jetsunma Tenzin Palmo, we see that that she listens to the masters as if she's listening to, like, really like a child. She listens to all these teachings along with us sitting. So that makes us realize that really the more we go towards the divine, we realize, if there is any true realization, we realize that there is infinite possibilities in front of us, infinite realizations possible in front of us. So we are nowhere, we are not reached anywhere. So again, a grounding comes, a humility comes naturally. So it seems to me that what I thought were results is nothing more than a preparation. So not to boast or, again keep in head the burden of our previous realizations. They have no place. Vanity has no place on the path. In fact, it will pull us down only. I feel as though I have done nothing yet. And this is the Divine Mother saying, who has done the yoga of the Gita. I feel as though I have done nothing yet, as though I have not lived the spiritual life, only entered the path that leads to it. It seems to me that I know nothing. I am incapable of formulating anything, that all experience is yet to begin. And we know that when mother came in the beginning, when she came completely 1920, I guess, she was living very a kind of a mostly a secluded life. She was not very kind of very much engaged in the ashram activities and all that. She would mostly remain in her room and do her sadhana and all that. Few people that she were in touch with. It was only later when Sri Aurobindo entered seclusion and she came forward and took charge of the ashram. It is as though I was stripped of my entire past. So I think this is so beautiful that we have to do this every moment. No matter how burdened we feel at times, we feel burdened with experiences, some past thoughts, feelings, all that keeps coming up. And yet there is a possibility of being a newborn every moment. So I was stripped of entire past and of its errors as well as its conquest. So ek thali ke chatte batte, like, two sides of the same coin. Nothing to carry, no awards and achievements, and no errors and follies. Nothing, no images of the past to be carried forward. As in Kabir's, one of the Kabir's couplets, he says, Prem gali ati sakari, jame dou na samai. So the Lord and the ego can't go together in that narrow lane of love in which we have to enter. Either Lord will be there, either you as ego will be there. So one has to completely be naked, stripped of my entire past, of its errors as well as its conquests, as though all that has vanished and made room for a newborn child whose whole existence is yet to be lived, who has no karma, like a clean slate she has become. No karma, no experience to learn from, but no error either, which has to be set right. And she talks about this, that when she came to Sri Aurobindo, sitting next to him, as if like a complete mental stillness in the being settled when she came to Sri Aurobindo. Completely stripped of everything. Clean slate. This can happen with us if we totally give ourselves in thought and feelings with the mother, to the mother. Completely blank. And this blankness, Sri Aurobindo talks about it in one of the experiences, one of the letters to someone. He says that this blankness, the analytical, logical mind would take it as a stupidity of the mind, dumbness of the mind. But this is not the dumbness of the mind as we regard it. Because usually our mind is very chattery, always analyzing, always logically making sense of everything. This stillness that dawns in the mind is not a dumbness. It's a stillness in the mind, which appears to the logical mind as what has happened to me. I appear so dumb, like there is nothing in my mind actively. But when there is something in front of you, which you have to reflect upon, words just come to you. So it's not a dumbness of the mind, it's a stillness of the being. So a clean slate. That's what a newborn child, every moment we have the possibility to be. My head is empty of all knowledge and all certitude. This is what I was talking about. Complete stillness in the mind. No chatter of the thought is going on, analyzing and reflecting actively on something. That is not required. My head is empty of all knowledge and all certitude, but also of all vain thought. So along with positive thought, also all negative repetitive chatter is gone. See? I feel that if I learn how to surrender without any resistance to this state, so not to make struggle with this state, oh my God, what is happening to me? And am I okay? Oh my God, your mind is not chattery anymore. So if I don't struggle and resist this state, she says, if I learn how to surrender without any resistance to this state, if I do not try to know or understand, so not to put again mind in active thought, like thinking about this or thinking what is happening to me. If I consent to be completely like an ignorant and candid child, some new possibility will open before me. So that's a certitude that is rising, intuitive insight that is arising, that if I stay in this state, do not resist this so-called blank chit, blank slate that I have become, I know that a new possibility will arise. I know that I must now definitely give myself up and be like an absolutely blank page on which thy thought, thy will, O Lord, can be inscribed freely without danger of any deformation. So, what happens with our intuitions is the moment intuitive insight comes, it is distorted by the receiving mind. The receiving ego distort it. So some insight may come to you in dream, or in even waking state, some insight will come, but the ego will distort it, the active mind will distort it, the vital, the emotional heart will distort it according to our liking and preferences. But now in this state, like a blank page, wanting nothing, absolutely no want from this life. Whatever is there, yes, it's okay, it's fine. Then there is very rare chance of deformation or distortion, because there is no liking or preference. That's why equanimity and a lack of liking and preference is one of the qualities on this path, one of the 12 attributes of the mother. In mother's symbol we have the outer petals, 12 attributes. Equanimity, so no liking, no preference. In that state, whenever an intuitive dawning realization comes, the active mind will not try to deform it, because there is no preference this way or that way, both ways are fine. So now when there is a blank page, the divine can write the golden words on it. So a blank page on which thy thought, thy will, O Lord, can be inscribed freely without any danger of any deformation, which mostly is there with the egoistic consciousness, because the ego always has likings and preferences. This is what I want, this is what I don't want. I want to be with this person in this group, but I don't want to be with that person in that other group. So these are our preferences. Why? Because we have judgments in our mind which we are not even aware of. So when this is the state, like a blank page, she's become, an immense gratitude rises from my heart. Kabir ji says, चाह गई चिंता मिटी, मनवा बेपरवाह, जिनको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, वो शाहन के शाह. So who is a true king? One who does not have any liking or a preference, one who has given up his entire being to the divine. He is also now free of worries, because he has no preference. Whenever we have preference, we have a worry. Oh, what if this does not happen? So that's a worry. Because I know that this should happen, there is a preference. Now the worry is, what if this should not, this would not happen? What will happen of me? So when the chaha is gone, when the expectation is gone, demands are gone, liking is gone, then the worries are also gone. That one, he says, is the true king. जिनको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, the one who does not now demand anything, he has the divine presence with him. He is the true king. Rest all are beggars. Now, an immense gratitude arises from the heart. It seems to me that I have at last reached the threshold. Still, it is just the threshold, like you are crossing a door. You are entering a mandir, a temple you are entering. Right now, all the preparation was just to make you arrive at this threshold of the temple. You have not even entered the mandir, you have not even seen all the rooms and what all is there in the temple, but you've just entered the threshold, the Dahlij, and in Hindi we say, I have at last reached the threshold. I sought so much, so much. This is coming back home to ourselves, to the divine. All these experiences were nothing, which I was giving too much of importance. This is nothing. And now I see that this is just the entrance. In Savitri, there comes this line, vestibules of the unseen. Vestibule is a place like in European homes, there is an entrance to a home where you leave your coats and all that. And then there is the courtyard or the inner room of the home. So you keep all your robes and coats in the vestibule, your umbrellas, your gum boots that you are wearing to protect you from the rain, all that is left in the vestibule. And then you enter the area of the temple or the room. So we have to get rid of all this, stripped, as we were reading, stripping ourselves of the past, good experiences and the bad experiences, name and fame and the respect that we have over the years, all that we are stripping ourselves of, then entering the temple naked. And if we don't enter the temple naked, we know what happens with Duryodhan when he when Gandhari, she is going to open her blindfolds after a long time. And this is that ingathered energy of tapasya that she had, because she has not opened that sense for a long time. So, ingathered energy she has, energy of tap. And she says that before the war, come my child, Duryodhan, and come naked to me. Because when I open my eyes, all that energy of tap, it will make you strong. Each part of you, wherever I put my sight on, that will be made stronger. But Krishna is Krishna, and he plays his trick, and he says that makes him shameful. Duryodhana is walking naked to Gandhari's tent, and he says, "What are you doing? You're such a big child. You're not a child anymore. You're an adult. Don't go like this to the mother. At least cover some parts." So he's trickster. And then Duryodhan also becomes shameful, and then he covers the part of the thighs and the genitals. And then Gandhari opens her blindfolds, and it's only that part where he gets stuck by Bhim ultimately and loses that Malla Yudh, where he does not have that power of tap because he has hidden it. So, this is what happens with us. When we hide anything, that part remains weaker. So, if we want to make ourselves true servants of the divine, truly have the mother's light in each part of our being, then we have to go naked to the mother. A child is not ashamed to go naked to the mother. That's the beauty of a mother and child relationship. Nothing to be hidden, nothing. That's when mother makes us stronger. So, yes. Yeah, anyone wants to add on anything? Many a times we are wondering, we're coming from a lot of unworth in our bad conditioning. We say, oh, why should I bother mother for this? This is such a little thing. I don't want to bother mother for this. And that thing then remains weaker. That doesn't get the true strength. So we must bother the mother for everything. If you look at the letters of the mother, that mother has written to the right, the disciples in the ashram, the devotees in the ashram, people living there, you would see that people are asking all kinds of questions to the mother. Mother, should I be eating this? Mother, I'm feeling weak today. Do you think I should add one more egg to the diet? So if now we read it, we feel that, oh my God, is this a question to be asked to the mother? She has better things to do. But this is the banking upon the divine. And mother replied generously to everyone that yes, you must add one more egg to your diet. You're going thinner and weaker. So that's the banking that we can have, but that can only happen when we have a mother and child relationship with the mother. This intimacy that we have to be developed, developing this intimacy. If we look at the mother as some divine seated above, some respect, of course respect is there for the mother, but she's not far away from us. We can be very intimate and close with the mother, absolutely naked, without any shame, without any guilt. That's the even biological mother and child relationship. If there is such a truth in that relationship, we see that then we don't hide anything. Mother, I feel naughty today. Yes, okay, you feel naughty. Mother, I feel guilty today. Yes, okay, I feel guilty. So no, nothing is to be ashamed of in front of her. So that transparency has to be developed. And mother says that there is one curtain that comes between the transparency of a mother and child relationship, which is the curtain of desires. When we are desirous, when we are wanting one thing and not the other, then we are unable to be transparent with the mother. We are hiding something. So desire brings a curtain between a transparent relationship with mother and child. We have to be, but if we have no desires, no likings and preference consciously, at least, then we see that we can ask anything to the mother, anything. At times mother will fulfill, at times mother may not fulfill because we have a lesson to learn. But of course, I can go on talking about this when it comes to practical experiences. It's the practical experiences. So please, anyone wants to add on anything?
Yeah, we have to make our surrender complete every day. So that is a job to do every day, every moment. If I get any pain, then my surrender is not complete.
Yeah,
From outs
that can be a good sign. Yes.
from outside, I'm talking from outside pain.
Yeah.
I'm not talking of physical pain. If I'm getting pain from people, from objects, then I'm sure that I'm not. My surrender is not complete because I know outside things, outside objects, people cannot give me permanent happiness, peace of mind. So if I get pain out of this, then my surrender is not complete. I have not complete faith in the mother. So my daily job is to see that my surrender is complete in all ways, integral surrender. And another thing that really touched me, the threshold. In the journey of our life, we have gone through many thresholds and rebirths also. I consider myself fortunate because I have gone through a rebirth where actually I came to a point, facing a lot of real crisis in life, and I completely surrendered everything to the mother, and I saw how it changed the course of my life. Still a lot to go, a lot of things. I clearly see the pain points, I can say. Uh, I see, lot of obscurities, darkness still there, but I know she is there actually. So threshold is a very nice word actually. Threshold that takes us to a rebirth, even in this birth. It's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I think Sri Aurobindo also talks about this Dvija, twice born. So we all are born so that we can be born into the spirit, as you said. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Taru, you wanted to share?
Yeah, can you pull up the prayer for me, please? And at the rate of which I also remember reading that, to a lot of sadhaks, especially on their birthdays when they visited mother, she used to give them a flower which was a flower of rebirth. Again, the which that now you can be born again. And I guess the issue is not that we don't see or touch those spaces which gives us the capacity to be reborn, but we keep coming back. I remember, hearing there's a story that somebody, I don't know who asked who, but like, okay, after you take a dip in the Ganges, do your old karmas actually wash away? And the saint said that yes, they do. But the problem is that you go back and wear the same clothes again. You take off everything, you take a shower, you lose everything, and then you go back and wear your old clothes. So that's what a lot of time I believe happens. And so how they say that, we are our own obstacle, or we don't, in our cleverness, that let me not buy new one, wear the old, for example, that I've already done so much effort, for the past. So in this one, you've already obviously covered everything, but just that how the past can no longer be of any use. Like this thing, in this, the way I live, like everything is a means to an end. So actually, although I might say it, superficially, but to actually let go of one's past is really hard because we feel that all that effort I did so that I can become something. And yet, how we now know, maybe not practically follow, but we know that the journey is now unlearning, right? And yet to honestly, sincerely give up the learning seems really hard. But just, I believe the recognition also gives me hope and gives me that motivation that would happen. And this thing that were results nothing more than a preparation, that what I thought were results. Sometimes we do certain things and we believe that this is what I'll get, this is what I'll get. But if this was not even a test to get what I wanted, if it was just a preparation so that I can start the journey now. How Sri Aurobindo talks about nirvana, that's the first step. And now your journey starts. It's very interesting because unknowingly I see that I keep expecting first, like say, a lot from people around me, and then also from the universe, right? That the cosmos would give me this, or that person would give me this, or that energy will give me that. And it's very funny when I look at it sincerely, that the result bound in, that mind with always that this is what I will get. Even if it's not very loud, there is a voice that, unless I look at it fully, keeps asking me or prompting me, or kind of poking me that, what about you, what is, okay, this much, okay, this much. So just to look at it fully and see that I have that. And this, and this is stripped of my entire past. It's very interesting that how it's the errors as well as the conquest. Again, because my errors I'm very happy to give, right? Although I know, we use sentences like that, I will never change my past for anything and stuff. And yet, we do know that there are certain things that we did that we could, whatever. I'm not getting into the details, but I have to give everything up. The bad as well as the crown that I feel now I deserve, or it's already in my head, has to be offered. And this newborn child, again, is a very beautiful example, whose whole existence is yet to be lived. Like, you actually, if we visualize a newborn child, here mother also uses, I think, the word ignorance somewhere, that in his ignorance, he does that. So I found it pretty amazing that, how usually the term ignorant is considered bad, right? And yet when it's not, nothing is good or bad in its own essence, it's the context. That an innocent newborn child is ignorant, and that's beautiful. There's nothing, no agenda there. He is ignorant and innocent. Yeah, ignorant and candid child, new possibilities. I guess so many masters and mystics, they keep talking about how one has to be empty so that one can receive, like the stillness that you were talking about from Sri Aurobindo. That, and yet I'm so full. I'm so full of things that actually I think that fullness helps me, but that's the one that's stopping me from becoming light. Land, yeah. I think, yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, anyone else? Anything to share, add on? All right, then. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending and joining in today, listening patiently and sharing reflections. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Happy
Monica.
practice. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Monica. Thank
Thank
you so
you.